So, good evening once again, ladies and gents, and welcome to the WoT Pro League Season 3, Matchday 21. We are coming to the end of our regular season here. We've got some very good games coming up in just a moment because, well, it all comes down to these final games to decide who's going to be in that top 6 going through to the playoffs pretty much, and who might actually drop out of this league. And that's what we're really going to be focusing on in this play day. Who's going to be securing what spot, and how are you feeling about today's games?
Yeah, I think that's what it really is about, you know, which team goes out, which teams go in as well, because, you know, it's really these two play days, because there's so many teams who are really close to each other, and I think, you know, if their games ever mattered a lot, then this is where it really matters.
Yeah, it's really going to be a tough one. And obviously, as we are on to Matchday 21, if any of you missed that previous playday, some incredible things happened. We had the chance to watch two of the very best teams. And, well, they had not the easiest of rides. And I do believe we even had a video to recap it if you guys missed it. So, good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome to the WoT Pro League Season 3 Matchday 20.
I think it has. They got the better position. Botomak and Yukazoni kind of shut down a little bit. Ace taking a couple big shots, and new multi-show getting punished by Alien in that Waffle Tiger.
The superior positioning just really working in Mouse's favor. There's a shot coming from Eclipse, finally, but it's not done enough. Zenith now the last man standing, trying to make a bit of a dash for it, but he has been melted. Luke is still really low right here. He's going to be pushing straight forward in that T69, challenging out Prokhorovka. That is a dangerous and a massive mistake coming out from these guys. And he's trying to do what he can, but he knows it's over right now. And it's a matter of time before reloads come up. He'll deal the damaging blow. He's sprayed out Alien. This should be a clean little shot coming in from him. Can he make it before the rest of the side? Oh! Stunning little saving shot from Niers Bazor, and he comes out exactly when it matters. Look at Apple right now, he's in trouble. Fantas and Agarhut doing work, he's taking him down. And this is lovely work from Spell. Apple coming for the ram, he's going down, and there we have it. The final blow comes in favor to Arclet, and Dignitas, my God, still looking so good on the best map of Spell. There we spine these two out straight away, and this is going to be a blow-for-blow battle. Apple takes the first, takes the second, but there's Armely taking down Eurofish. Agarhut now left in a 2v1 situation. He's going to look for the quad kill right now, 400 HP left. He's got the first one. Can he get the following shot though? 230 HP. He's received it, but there's Agarhut doing the damage. 4 kills for him, and a victory finally for Spale. My God, it took long enough, and a toilet tank in the mix, but they did it.
Yeah, Team-Dignitas going down the toilet. They're getting completely flushed out.
Those puns still hurt me to this very date. But if you do want to see the full atrocity that is this man trying to be funny, head on over to the WoTProLeague.com site. Check out those VODs because they are all uploaded there if you want to watch those matches in their entirety. And the thing I want to, really focus on, not your bad puns, but the fact that Mousesports did really well there, and they had a massive knock-on effect from that very game. And I believe we can actually look at those rankings right about now and have a little look to see exactly what that did for Mousesports, because it did boost them up a fair bit. And it's Mousesports now sitting in 3rd, which is incredible for them, taking over DeNova, who had a great season so far, but they slumped a little bit there, and Mousesports went on that massive rip towards that mid to end season, and get themselves into that top 3 is just sensational.
It's just incredible. They were sitting down in what, 9th place not that long ago, but in classic Mousesports fashion, just winning after just a constant set of wins. They did it last season, although it was more around Matchday 9 they did it, but this season it was Matchday 11/Matchday 12 where they started to get in their stride, and what a stride it was, getting up into 3rd place. As you said, toppling DeNova, who we thought, okay, they've done a pretty good job. They've got some really good results, but still, Mousesports, the stronger team. They've got a lot of morale behind them, a lot of momentum as well, and that's just going to make them, have a lot of confidence in the Season 3 finals, which they undoubtedly will now qualify for. So I think the matchup for those Season 3 finals will be DeNova and Mousesports. Those are the ones I really want to see.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone wants to be looking towards those kind of games. And obviously, as you've just seen those rankings, it's not just about that top 3 there or even the top 6 now. It's also about those lower teams who are going to have to fight for their place within this league going into the next season. And obviously, just for pride's sake alone. Now, we can have a quick look at today's games just to find out who we will be watching. And I assured you it was going to be a great little bit of a match day. And obviously, how could we miss it? Team-Dignitas, the old dogs, the top dogs, sitting at the very top of this league, facing off against DeNova, the new kind of young guns to this, who've kind of had a little bit of awakening call, seeing that mousesports did end up above them, and mousesports certainly have the easier game here to build up those points. And then following that, the game, it may not look as exciting, but for these guys, it means the world. Ulanska Fantasia up against Team WD, fighting for their place within this league. Both tying on 9 points currently, I believe, in this one. And with only 1 play day left to go after this, they need that advantage so damn badly. And these games are going to be fantastic.
I mean, that one is going to be incredible because, as you said, it literally is make or break for this one. As you know, the last 2 get disqualified. But this is since, Seven Sins already went out the league, it's just going to be that last place, 11th place, that does get automatically put down out of the WoT Pro League, so they won't be coming back in Season 4. So, yeah, incredibly big matches already coming up, and you have to see that second game because it's going to be a real nail-biter, in my opinion. Oh,
God, yeah. We're going to see who can really scrap for it when it matters, you know what I mean? And this is going to be the guys pushed to their limits. And, well, what are your thoughts towards the results today as well? I want to know your results in the first game, at least.
I think DeNova, we've seen how they can beat lots of good teams, but they crumble very quickly. It's a slippery slope for them. We saw, last time Team-Dignitas played DeNova, which will be our first game, they went 5-0 down, which is not a particularly good result when you consider that other teams who are further down the table have done a lot better against Team-Dignitas.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think literally if DeNova just lose that first and second game, then they're gonna have another really big landslide, crushing defeat. It's going to be a 4-0 or a 5-0. They need to pick up one of the first 2 rounds. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to go horribly. But I hope that's one of the things they've been working on recently since their last match up, and maybe they can improve a little bit here.
Well, we can only find out. Now, our predictions, I'm going to go for mine. I'm going to say Dignitas here because they look unstoppable. It's very hard to bet against them. Only losing 2 games, I believe, this season so far, which is just impeccable stuff from a team like that. I'm going to have to go with them. It's a safety bet, but our thoughts don't matter. We do not win gold. We don't get prizes. We might get a little bit of a pat on the back and an ego boost, but that's about it. But I know someone out there who can actually get some goodies for your thoughts. So, Melly, how can the people at home get involved with us here in the studio?
It's actually pretty easy. Just head over to our social media platforms and follow and like us on Twitter, for example. And of course, make sure following our Twitch channel. That's very important because as soon as we're going live, you will get notified and you won't miss any minute of our beautiful show. So, as Lauren said, becoming part of our community has its benefits. Not only bonus codes, not only gold, maybe hardware in the near future. So just make sure getting involved and being part of our network. And when it comes to challenge, well, it's going to be Christmas soonish.
Like a month.
Well, yeah, but if you have a look at the supermarkets, they have Christmas stuff since 2 months already in their shelves.
Very true.
So we started pretty late, actually. So we have a challenge. Head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WoT Pro League, and check out our new challenge. Ollie and I sat down on Friday night and made some beautiful Christmas tree ornaments.
Yeah, I can see some of those on your desk. And you get a little bit of a show of some of them.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, she's picking out the best ones that she made right there. She's like,
Which one should I show? No, that's Tom did this.
That's quite nice.
Greetings to Tom.
That's really nice.
The fact that I sat down on Friday night to do this just shows how much I care about this.
That's a cool little tank. I like that.
That is a nice one.
Who did the green tank there?
That was me.
This one?
Yeah.
Or this one?
The one you held up, yeah.
Oh, the one I held up?
Yeah, this
that's
one.
mine.
That's a better one, yes.
And that Tom made this
okay,
one.
so you guys are pretty creative.
And a Medipack.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Or maybe a present.
Yeah, I
did
think we'll go for the present.
And I don't know what
I like
this
the Team-Dignitas
but I want to
one.
show it. Yeah.
That's really
cool.
cool.
In honor of our first ranked team, I did
That's
this.
awesome.
Yeah.
I think, wow, they are really good.
I made a helmet with Semper Uli.
Pretty good. I think Ollie made another one, but we're not showing that to the camera.
A shell.
I think
you can show
I
it. Well, it's a shell.
Okay.
Lauren, I don't know where your thoughts are, but this is a tank shell. regarding to Ollie at least.
Wow.
I tried. I'm not very good. I'm not
Seriously,
very good at art.
he was sitting there and coloring it. And I was like only looking at him. And I was trying to figure out if he's been serious, right? And I asked him, "Oh, what the hell are you doing?" And he's like, "It's a tank shell." I'm like,
Wow.
You
Genius.
know, these two have just got
Absolute
these two have got dirty minds. I mean, it's
No,
a purely
it's
simple a tank shell.
A tank shell.
Yeah.
It's a tank shell. It's fantastic.
Let me show it again. It's beautiful.
Oh my word. So yeah, let us know your thoughts towards Oliver's very small tank shell there.
Exactly.
Make sure you tweet at the WoT Pro League and
Please do.
just let us know.
But that's only a few examples. So your creativity are no. I can't say serious. It's so hard with Lauren sitting there and giggling.
Don't know what
Well,
you're talking about.
You can do it better. I know it. You always prove that you can do it better. So I want you to do it better this time again. So head over to Facebook and check it out and get involved. And you can use every materials you like. Just make a Christmas tree ornament. That's the only. That's the only thing to say. It should be hangable and.
It's kind of cool.
Christmas tree should support it. Like, it should not be too heavy. Whatever. You will do something great. I know it. So we have gold. And the nice thing is, every submission gets a code.
That's cool.
So everyone will be rewarded, not only the winners. So it's definitely worth getting involved. I'm waiting for your pictures of your beautiful ornaments. And yeah, that's pretty much all for the new Facebook challenge. And of course, we have our usual match day challenges. I will put up a vote in a few minutes. Well, it will be online as soon as you see this. And where you can vote for your favorite team in the matchup, and just to see the community trend, just to see who's in favor when it comes to the community. And in the comments below, you can just predict the exact matchup scoreline. And if you do it right, if you get the exact score correct, you might get a chance to win one of 3 bonus codes. And the bonus codes are really big. We have 1K gold.
Nice.
7 days of premium, a premium tank, and a garage slot. So I think it's definitely worth getting involved. And of course, our 3 tweets of the day will be rewarded as well. So head over to Twitter and tweet us by the use of hashtag WGLEU. And that's pretty much all for now.
For now. So yes, Ollie's rather impressive ornament aside, let's get back to the world of tanks here, because that's an awesome way to get involved. But let's look at the teams we'll be watching today and who you will be putting your votes towards. It's Team-Dignitas up against DeNova. These two have been battling out time after time again. It's always been Team-Dignitas to this point, but maybe it can change. Who should we be looking out for here?
So the 2 team leaders for Team-Dignitas, the infamous Stalker. He's been there since day one, pretty much. And DeNova for Ronnie, when that team was known as all sorts of other names, Red Tide including. But in terms of standout players, we've got Pavel, who's actually #1 ranked in terms of damage in the whole of the Wargaming.net League Europe. Just an absolutely fantastic guy. And Afwow's in second. So two of the highest ranking players in Team-Dignitas, unsurprisingly, in my opinion. And for DeNova, I would say it's rest in peace, because he plays that AMX 5100 so much. That's why he can do so much damage. And it's Phoenix, who plays the AMX 3090, which is really impressive. That tank is not easy to really keep consistent damage up. You either get a lot or you just get none at all. So just amazing set of players, I think, in terms of skill. Definitely on the same level. I would say Team-Dignitas a little bit more experienced, though.
Yeah, most certainly. And I really want to be seeing what FC Dynamo can bring here today, because he's been a really outstanding player to me in the more recent effects towards Team-Dignitas and their result. I really do like the way he plays. Yeah. Very smart setups. And that's what I really like looking forward to. And I think the first map is going to be Prokhorovka here. Now, hopefully you as well did manage to catch on the WGLNA finals that were going on over the weekend, and there were some brilliant things going through there. Obviously, Falcon Gaming, congratulations to you guys for picking that one up. And some of their tank picks out there are pretty unique, to say the least. Now, I did have a little chat with Rukil, and, you know, they're pretty set in their ways with some of these tanks, but, you know, why do you think the EU side is so, you know, happy with the setup they go for right now?
I think first of all, it comes down to play style. It doesn't really. You choose a tanks based on your play style, and for the American League, they have their play style, and that stuff works for them. But what's interesting is the fact that the American League has this, well, North American League, the WGLNA, has the kind of tank setups Europe had a while ago, like 2012. So their play style, yeah, it's catching up, but it's not quite as the European and the Russians. And I think the Europe and Russia is pretty much the same at this point. But that was an incredible final. I mean, 7 rounds, it was just amazing. But double T1 for DeNova, Team-Dignitas, double T1, double AMX 1390 from both teams as well. So I think these guys have really set their tank lineups here to what the norm is. Pershing 416 from both teams, T69 from DeNova. The only difference here is Team-Dignitas is going to pick another AMX 1390, making their lineup a triple AMX 1390, T69 Pershing double T1, and for the side of DeNova, we've got a double AMX 1390, double T69 Pershing 416 and double T1.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how well that 416 comes into play. I've liked it recently. I think it's got a real position on this map when played well in the hands of Phoenix. I think it's pretty safe there. Looking to see what that can do. Obviously, Dignitas going for a bit more of a 1390 style lineup, it seems. But, you know, they certainly have their reasons to go for it. Who am I to doubt who is at the very tip-top of this league currently? So, you know, they know what they're doing. But I really want to see what they can bring. Prokhorovka's a brilliant map to see these guys truly in their elements. So, guys, let's get ready for that introduction video towards Prokhorovka.
Prokhorovka, a large map at 1,000 by 1,000 meters which allows teams to stretch their legs and artillery to test their skills. There are 3 primary routes of attack: over the left tree road, the middle area and towards the town. The tree road is very open and flat but has a very large number of bushes and trees that provide good cover if you're not shooting. The middle area is where the initial engagements happen as teams gather as much information as they possibly can. Both teams are fairly symmetrical and only offer small hills and bushes as cover. The middle area is where the initial engagements happen as teams gather as much information as they possibly can. The railroad that splits the map has a large number of bushes running alongside it that provides good cover and the occasional route of attack in the village and hill area. Teams should look towards taking fast tanks and artillery as they complement each other on this expansive map.
Well, even with that expansive map in mind, one of the players did drop, so they will be actually restarting that one, so do bear with us. They want to make sure they're obviously going into this on an even playing ground. No team wants to go in, you know, being overly at a bit of an advantage, to say the least. And, you know, it's nice to see a good bit of, you know, team play between these guys. There's no, you know, awkwardness there. It's just happy, okay, let's restart, let's get this one working, because there's obviously a point to prove between these guys, because Dignitas are the kind of old dogs here, let's say. Sure. They've been in this season, you know, so many seasons now. You know, they've been here, they've shown that they're truly deserving of that top spot, but they've got, you know, some young guns really coming in and testing them. Now, I would be really surprised to, you know, see, you know, I'd be really surprised to see Dignitas taking this lightly, because they're a team that want to prove it on the most even playing grounds that they can, you know, once again, retain their title at the very top here. So, you know, for me, it's to see Team Dignitas really excel here, and I think they're going to go really hell for leather onto DeNova.
Yeah, I think for Team Dignitas on Prokhorovka at least, they can be pretty confident. But having said that, DeNova plays a very similar style to Team Dignitas.
Very true.
So I think this can go, honestly, both one of 2 ways. Either Team Dignitas will just win by a mile, or DeNova won't win by a mile, but they'll just beat Team Dignitas. I think that's really our 2 options. But yeah, these guys are just a good bit of sportsmanship. International dropped, so the player from Team Dignitas, of course. But both teams are ready to go, all in game, all in garage. So we should just be able to get underway in a second.
Yeah, we'll let them load back into this one, make sure all their players are okay, obviously. We don't want to, you know, force them to get into this too badly. But let's analyse Prokhorovka a little bit while they do load into that one. Who do you think this one's going to fall towards?
I think, as I said, I think Team Dignitas have a good advantage with experience, because Prokhorovka is a very hard map to play, especially without artillery. But, you know, having said that, DeNova are a really capable team. They have a lot of skillful players. Their lineups, their roster changes for this season have been pretty on point. They've got a lot of star players in there from all sorts of experience and well-honoured, well-coveted teams in the past. So I think it's going to be a very close one. But Team Dignitas, they just look so strong at the moment.
They really do look ever so strong at the moment, and it's slightly unnerving for anyone coming up against them, even DeNova, let's just say, because these guys truly are brilliant. They've made it into that top 3 previously. Mousesport's taking it away from them, but still, they showed that they deserve to be here, and this would be the icing on the cake if they could do this one. So guys, let's get ready for the first map. It's going to be Prokhorovka. We're back into the action in the south in that gold and yellow. It will be DeNova, and in the north, in the blue, it's Team-Dignitas. Now, what are we seeing from these two at the very start?
Well, Team-Dignitas, they have that 3-30-90 setup, so they're just charging straight up the middle. They won't quite have reload, but they'll certainly get there first and get that information, whilst DeNova, more of a kind of subdued move. They're sending some tanks up towards that left side, a couple of tanks up the middle just to get that information, as well as Team-Dignitas. And then most of them are just going kind of in the middle. They've got a tank there just ready to try and snipe out as soon as something comes out from Team-Dignitas. That'll be Shanish.
Yeah, indeed. Shanish now showing his face. He's going to get a bit of damage towards him. He's received 1 shell there. And now Bad News going back in for more. More fire comes in. Shanish is being called out. Garat needs to get in there, and damn quickly, his teammate is in trouble. FC Dynamo makes it worse, taking him down to 4-5-4. And this exchange has gone so in favor to DeNova. If FC Dynamo can play this correctly, it needs to be slightly safe in that T69. Has been taken down to 5-7-4, but there's the reply. One of the tier 1s will fall down, but still, not a bad way to start out for DeNova.
Yeah, but you have to really consider about the kind of positional advantage Team-Dignitas have now. They have the higher ground. They're using things like the 4-1-6.
Oh, and look at
the
Armley.
Pershing as well. So they have also got gun depression to deal with.
Yeah, and Armley just really creating the crossfire, locking this one down. He's just positioned himself really nicely over by the village, and these guys are well aware of it. They are pinned in here. Garat just over the way. We are seeing the split coming up from the likes of Rest in Peace and International. He's already received 1 shell, kind of been sent backpacking down to 3-6-2. They are landing one after the other. There's no escaping this right now. He's going to be taken down, and that is not what they wanted to start with. Rest in Peace finds the avenging blow, and they're going to try and fold towards Garat. He's down to 700-ish HP. But can they take him down before Povel can at least support him slightly? FC Dynamo trying to take him away, but Garat still doing work, finds Rest in Peace. Finally, Bad News does the damage, but he'll receive a shell to boot, and now Phoenix moving in for the kill.
It isn't such a bad situation for DeNova because the AMX 3090 of Applewell is reloading. Phoenix can fold in, but he only tracks him.
Yeah, indeed. That's not the ideal exchange there, but he's still going to go for it. That 4-1-6 has the speed to keep up with those 3090s, but can they keep the rest of Dignitas away long enough? Phoenix receives a big chunk of damage there, down to 975. Bad News eyes up Applewell, slams down a lovely little shot there. Phoenix will not, however, follow up, and you've seen Team Dignitas now get themselves round behind DeNova. They've got to be able to fight their way out here. Povel is splitting around the back. We've still got Armley in the mix as well. They have 3 real tanks left alive, and we're going to see if they can do anything with it. Applewell must be defensive. He's down so damn low. He cannot risk peering over here. The HP just about, I'd say, in favor to DeNova, but the shells are being exchanged 1 for 1. Povel going in. Bad News though. Big shell comes in from Applewell from long range. My God, what a stunning shot. FC Dynamo does find the reply, but right now we are left in really a 2v2. The HP minuscule amounts on DeNova's favor, but can they execute here?
Armley on 286, Applewell on 158. Definitely Applewell one shot at this point. Armley, questionable one shot. The AMX 3090 can hit up to 300 damage, and the Pershing, as the 416, can have a 320 average damage shot. So he's almost certainly a one shot. So these two, all they need to do is evade fire and get the kind of a little bit of a HP advantage back into their favor, and then maybe they can win this one, but it gets punished. Phoenix takes down the beautiful shot there. We just, this looks like it's slipping away for DeNova, and this is what I was talking about. Get yourself into the game early, get those shots off, and even if you go down a tank, you make a couple of mistakes in terms of positioning, just get the reload better. And I think for once, DeNova just had the better lineup to deal with this.
Yeah, they certainly did, really playing smart. Phoenix, however, is splitting up. We are seeing FC Dynamo trying to stick around that village area. Little does he know, just over that ridge, there is the opposition. And you can see it on your screens right there. That was Applewell going towards the village. And if any man can do this, he would be the player. Let's keep that in mind. He's a brilliant individual, but still, this is a tough task. We're going to see Phoenix being spotted out by that tier 1 momentarily. Both tanks now have been spotted for DeNova, and well, Applewell now has to pull out a bit of a miracle here. They pinged him directly where he is. International has a good idea. There's the first shell coming in, but Arclit's now down. Applewell is very much alone in a 1v2 situation. He's trying to get to the higher ground, possibly trying to find a better way to challenge here, because really, you can see those shells coming through from FC Dynamo. Phoenix at that long range with that 416, trying to just kind of guess where Applewell's going to go.
Well, is now on reload. 33 seconds reloaded on this AMX 1390, so he's got to try and evade any kind of damage onto him for as long as possible. He only had 4 shells in that autoloader in the first place, which would have only just about been enough to take down these 2 tanks. About 3 shells if he managed to connect at the 240 average damage on that F3. But now on reload, he's kind of sitting in a bush. This is pretty much make or break. If these 2 tanks hit him, he's out of there. But being in the bush, he'll get the first engagement. He won't get spotted because of that good camo value in the MX 1390, and he should be safe, but he's in the open.
Yeah, and Phoenix and FC Dynamo are moving in for the kill. They are not waiting back. They're being cautious to a point, but they've spotted...
Oh!
Oh, Phoenix coming in big in the 4-1-6, taking down Applewell in just a moment's notice. That was beautiful play from DeNova, though. That's certainly worth a bit of a watch back on that one. And I want to see that damage coming in, because that initial exchange, as you said, the HP slightly in favor to DeNova here. But the positions, that was all Team-Dignitas. They had the higher ground, they had the correct tanks in the right places, but then that little bit of a push coming in, you know, from the, I think it was the 4-1-6 with Phoenix in it, actually challenging us straight away. Just, it really worked for them. Phoenix,
just that situational awareness, completely no tunnel vision at all. I mean, the actual engagement by DeNova wasn't perfect because the international, the MX 1390 he was trying to push along, but then he got completely blown away by one of the MX 1390s of Team-Dignitas. So he had easy shots, took down the MX 1390. So at the beginning, at least Team-Dignitas had the tier 8 point advantage. One of the tier 8 tanks was down for DeNova, but then DeNova just with a perfect play. Phoenix going in with that big gun, 320 average damage. He got some serious damage down, and the MX 1390 coming over the hill as well. They managed to take down those two tanks there, the T69 and the Pershing. And then because of that AMX 1390, which had been shooting the other AMX 1390, it was now on reload. That means he was completely useless and he was out of position, which meant Phoenix, who doesn't have an autoloader in that 4-1-6, could push on, take him down low to 158 HP. And from that point onwards, DeNova had the hit point advantage. They had a positional advantage because they had the middle of the map, and it was only a matter of time.
It was just beautiful play. And let's bear in mind, he got 4 kills there, Phoenix. Hitting 2.4k damage. That's something you can really write home about. And that's what I really like about DeNova at times. Their kind of synergy between, you know, smaller players, let's say, or, you know, small units. They can really work very well. I look back to Steps, for example. Their defensive play when they drew the opposition into that crossfire, it was FC Dynamo up there, I believe, and possibly Phoenix, actually, I do think as well. And those two just complete synergy all the way through. Really loving the way they're playing there.
It's kind of funny because the old name was Synergy, so yeah, it's just what happens. But yeah, you can actually watch back on WoT Pro League YouTube channel on Matchday 10. That's when we saw DeNova get crushed 5-0 against Team-Dignitas, so you can actually watch that replay back. So always good to check that one out. But our next map will be Himmelsdorf, or Ensk even.
He's struggling.
It looks quite similar. It's got the same kind of color scheme for a quick glance.
And you're meant to be our expert here. Kids these days, eh? What can you do? But still, what a way to start this one off. And how many predictions do you reckon have now been absolutely trashed off the back of that first game?
Well, if they've been listening to me, I said if DeNova could win that first map, then they can actually have a chance here. And they've done exactly that. And it's not a map where Team-Dignitas is weak on by any stretch of the imagination. So incredible, just amazing play by them.
Yeah, it was something to really go for. So I'm just going to give them the nod to go for the second picks on this map. Now in the American side of things, I've been really taking notice of the picks they go for. They're really favoring that 110 on here. Now, we've seen it in play, you know, now and then, maybe one in the mix. They go for like 2 of them. Now, what are the benefits to picking that 110 over the IS-3, let's say? And obviously, what's the IS-3's bonus that the 110 lacks?
So the 110 has a lot more frontal armor. It can bounce even the BL9 on the IS-3, which has 265 penetration. So that's really its main, you know, kind of strength. Its frontal ability. It's just an amazing assault tank. But with the IS-3, what you have in terms of its strength, it's BL9 122mm, 390 average damage against the BL9. It's a 320 average damage gun, so you're not going to do that much damage compared to it. You're going to struggle. So I think it's more of a preference, and I'm sure, you know, teams like Fulcrum Gaming could give you like a really detailed reason why they pick it, because they have the strategy for it. Once again, it comes down to that lineup depending on the region. They like their 110 because they have a strategy for it. We like the IS-3, although we do pick the 110 a little bit here in the EU region as well as the Russian region, because it fits into that strategy. But I think, you know, everyone has their pros and cons, and it's also about, you know, if the player feels comfortable in the tank.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how I felt about it in there, but you know, I felt very uncomfortable seeing it rather than IS3. I was like, it looks very similar, but not sure if I like it there. But I do like the way these guys are going for it at the moment. There's some, you know, fairly usual tank picks. Is there going to be any change?
Well, so far it just looks like the Himmelsdorf lineup. We got double T1 from Team-Dignitas, DeNova, double IS3 from both of them as well, double 5100. Last pick from Team-Dignitas, that tier 8 French tank, the MX 5100. Last pick from DeNova is going to be the IS3. So for DeNova, triple IS3, double 5100, double T1. For Team-Dignitas, triple MX 5100, double IS3, double T1. So, you know, just the classic switcheroo between Team-Dignitas picking the extra 5100, whilst DeNova have picked the extra IS3.
Well, those minuscule differences can make a world of difference. So we'll find out here as they are almost ready to get underway in this one. And I'm really excited to see if DeNova can keep this up. These guys are building now. They have that confidence beside them. And that's when I want to see them really coming into their own and into their strength. And to me, this is where they can really shine. If they pick up 2 maps back to back, that's going to be huge for them. So I'm just going to see if they can build it up here. It may not be their best map possibly to do it on. I wouldn't say it's one of their biggest strengths, but still, I think they can do it if they get that little bit of a boost from that first map, because obviously Prokhorovka, it's nowhere near their strongest map, and Dignitas are always very consistent. That's the one thing about Dignitas. They always have that kind of just kind of security there, but maybe that security's been ruined, so we'll find out here if it can be kept up by DeNova on Ensk.
Ensk is a simple map on the face of it, but requires the most skillful team play to play properly. Being such a small map at 600 by 600 meters, the areas of attack are confined to through the city, through the railroads, or through the green zone. The fearsome city side, often famed for its fierce firefights, the railroads and green zone areas are hard to play as they have many death alleys. The railroads provide little cover but good sniping locations. Tanks can shoot over and navigate through the trains to ambush and weaken the opposition. When playing Ensk, always keep in mind that teams may try and rush for the cap and not go for the city brawl. Also, take tanks that can both deal a lot of damage and react quickly to situations.
Well, we're going to find out here if they can react quickly to those situations, because in the south, in the gold and yellow, it's going to be DeNova. And in the north, in the blue, it's Team-Dignitas. And currently, we are sitting with the advantage to the southern side of DeNova, really causing upset here. And let's find out if they can keep it up. What sort of start do you think they're going to go for?
So we've seen Ensk kind of change a lot throughout the season. A lot of teams were sitting back in that top third from the northern start. But, you know, Team-Dignitas, you can see straight away heading aggressively into that city, sending a couple of tanks over towards the left, the fast, the NX 5100 and the IS3, with the T1 going first to get that information later on in the game. But DeNova not messing about with the green side at all, just sitting straight back up into the city, getting the initial bit of kill indeed. International taking down one of the T1s of Shanish, usually playing a T69, but since this is a heavy tank now playing a T1. So an aggressive start by DeNova. I think they're a little bit better from the north, but this is a good start. I mean, they have the advantage in every kind of way. They have the positional advantage. They've split up Team-Dignitas. You can kind of see they've got the Team-Dignitas right here, and they've gone right and they've gone left. Well, the whole of DeNova just sitting into the middle, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is indeed. So we're going to have to find out if they can really keep hold of that. They're engulfed them, as you mentioned. And, well, DeNova going very aggressive as well. They're really trying to get themselves embedded here and trying to find their way through. Couple of tanks not too far away. It's FC Dynamo and Bad News now lining up next to each other. They spotted out Arclit here. He's going to get a shell coming through towards him. And now Bad News is going to have to be careful. He doesn't want to outstay his welcome. We know how well Dignitas can engulf an entire team.
They're very good at just pincering tanks in, and honestly, their main strength is their ability to find and exploit weaknesses. That's exactly what Team-Dignitas do best. They see one tank out of position, and they have an uncanny ability just to move on and take it down. But I think DeNova are trying that exact same trick on Team-Dignitas, playing at their own game, giving them a taste of their own medicine. Armley being spotted out. He is on his own. I think he's the weak point now for Team-Dignitas. You know, Applewell's at least 40 seconds away, and Povel and Arclit are not doing that much better, but you can see Team-Dignitas straight away reacting, pushing up, Povel going first, and it's only a matter of time before they really find a weakness, but which team will do it first?
In my eyes, those two tanks splitting around that northwest side are vital. They know that Rest in Peace is now down by the flag. DeNova, to me, were trying to force a rotate. Applewell and Garat will be coming around from the back, They've got to swing those turrets right round now here. And Phoenix tries to get into the action, but Garat's going low. He's going into a 1v2 situation that is completely unideal. Amelie and Arclight, however, are now coming round. He might just be saved. Garat comes to the rescue, but rest in peace doing the work towards Garat back. So there's a bit of an exchange, and now FC Dynamo has the disadvantage. Applewow's continuing the work for Team-Dignitas towards that central square. International with a great HP advantage, but it's all about Dynamo right now. He's so outnumbered here. He's been absolutely ripped away from his teammates, and now just rest in peace and International stand, and they've got a lot of work on their plate.
That was a perfect little move there, because the AMX 5100 for DeNova failed to kill Applewell in his AMX 5100. That was a crucial move. That gave Team-Dignitas the tier 8 point advantage, but then they also collapsed onto the other two tanks. But it's still 3 versus 2. Applewell's down to a one-shot. International's engaging well, but Arclight's completely on a limb. He's trying to go for Rest in Peace. Rest in Peace is still reloading. He's just about started to reload, so he's got 641 HP and about 40 seconds to try and get back into this.
Yeah, and International is in trouble as well. He cannot get away from this one. Povel and Applewell are like just buzzards around a corpse at the moment. They are flying around him pretty much. Povel trying to ram him out, stop him from getting anywhere towards Rest in Peace, and there's nothing he can do. He wants to try and support, but Rest in Peace just trying to dodge, but he's once again been hit by Arclight, and we know the accuracy the Dignitas guys can get, and they will not miss shots like this. International now taking a beating from both sides. Povel coming through, Applewell just being that linebacker, holding him in place, but nice shot coming out from International. He's going to have to depend on the next couple, though, as he did get a little bit of a track down there. He's going to have to go for more, though. He's been taken down by Applewell, as now just Rest in Peace stands in a 1v2. Arclight still hot on his heels. What can he do here with only 4 shells? Nothing is the answer. Povel's put him to the grave, and we've seen Team-Dignitas showing why they're at the top there.
Just taking back a map, and really what that came down to was that one extra tier 8 tank Team-Dignitas had that allowed them to control the situation completely. I think, obviously, the AMX 5100, which doesn't reload, could have done a little bit better job for DeNova of just avoiding that shots from the IS3, but he couldn't. He was kind of stuck into a bad position. He didn't react quickly enough to the situation. But a good showing from DeNova. They're obviously very passionate about beating Team-Dignitas here, because they will have to beat them in the Season 3 finals if they want to get that prize pool. But generally, you know, Team-Dignitas, they saw the danger from DeNova. They saw if they made the first move, they would probably win. That's why they had to make the first move. It wasn't a particularly great one, but it did the job just about. And honestly, one of the best things was they exploited the fact that DeNova had the kind of wrong split with the double IS3s. They should have put an AMX 5100 there alongside an IS3. Then they could have focused one tank, bursted it down a lot quicker than with just 2 IS3s.
See, I do want to ask you the question here as well. Do you think DeNova's initial plan of having Rest in Peace being that defensive was to try and draw those tanks across those railroad and focus them down in that sort of fashion? But as soon as that tier 1 managed to find out Rest in Peace down by the back as he was holding the rotate, and they went to kind of a backup plan there. It was like Garat and I believe Applewell split off with 2. And I just love the way, in my eyes, that's Dignitas pretty much adapting on the fly to just finding out where one tank is and then being able to assume the rest. And even though it wasn't pretty, as you mentioned, you know, there was no backup plan for DeNova there. They were pretty much done by that point. Their initial plan kind of went down the toilet, as we do like to say these days now, once that tank came back into play. And they just had nothing to depend on. It was all or nothing of it there, and you can never really do that against Dignitas, I feel. Yeah,
and you know, it's a fascinating game, these two, because in the first one on Prokhorovka, Team-Dignitas lost because of their lineup. And in my opinion, the way DeNova played, they lost because of their lineup. If they had not the triple IS3 and they had the triple 5100, that really aggressive move by Team-Dignitas would have been thwarted, because as soon as you saw Garat coming across with his 5100, he would have been taken down twice as quickly. So he wouldn't have done quite as much damage. That would have kind of shaken the whole of Team-Dignitas' next plans. And, you know, that's what it really came down to. But we're moving on to our next map, Ruinberg now. 1 map apiece. Prokhorovka going to DeNova. And in a really close game as well. Now Ensk going to the side of Team-Dignitas. So 1 apiece. And Ruinberg, I'm not sure which one this really favours. I've seen, obviously, Team-Dignitas beat the likes of Virtus Pro on this map. So in terms of those kind of results, I would say Team-Dignitas have it. But then again, DeNova, they've had a lot of problems here in Ruinberg. They've lost a lot of matches, so this is a map they've probably been focusing on a lot and making sure they really have that anti-strat to Team-Dignitas absolutely dialed 100%, because they can't rely on their general map knowledge.
Yeah, no one can against Dignitas, because it can be undone in a second, as we've seen. And I do want to once again kind of refer to other regions here because we saw some very heavy tanks being picked for the WGLNA finals. They went for the 110s on here, and here's some really beefy kind of damage-absorbing tanks, should I say. But do you think we'll ever see something like that coming into this, or are we going to see our normal T69s, the 5100s, those kind of tanks in play?
Yeah, I was even surprised by Falcon Gaming, who picked 3 5100s on this map, I'm pretty sure. I don't think we'll see that here. I think, we can see the first 2 picks being an AMX 3090 T1, and for Team-Dignitas, a double T1. And then DeNova picking T69 and T1. So I think for this map, at least, you need that gun depression for the initial engagement. And you need the speed with the AMX 1390 to get the initial spot. So on Ruinberg, it's about having tanks that can deal a lot of burst damage, but also that have the kind of speed to get the anti-cap, which we saw was a big problem last time.
Very true.
Team-Dignitas actually capped that one. So for this map, honestly, you just need a little bit of everything. Make sure you have all those bases covered, damage, absorption from that T69, even the Pershing can come in.
Very true.
But yeah, the MX 3090 T69 for Team-Dignitas, T69 5100 for DeNova. That's probably going to mean they're going to pick another 5100, because why would you pick a 5100 in the middle of your picks?
True.
Should pick it last.
I do want to ask you something really quickly. Where do you think we're going to see the exchange going down with these picks in mind?
Definitely towards the village. I know Team-Dignitas is definitely very heavily towards that village. They love that. They favor that part a lot.
Yeah.
They're very good there. It's where they've trained. But yeah, I think T69 and MX 3090 for Team-Dignitas. Last pick for DeNova, T69. Yeah, I'm pretty sure DeNova is going to be trying to avoid that kind of engagement. But Ruinberg can be, it's literally that map where you either win it within the first 2 minutes, or you just lose it outright in the first 2 minutes. So those first few moves, the first where you drive your tank, what you do, where you aim, where you shoot, they are the most important. Team-Dignitas with a 416, a little bit unusual. But we'll have to see if that that high alpha damage really pays off in that speed. So that lineup, double AMX 3090, double T69, 416, double T1, and for DeNova, AMX 3100, triple T69, AMX 3090, double T1.
Well, we can only find out because I believe they are ready. So let's get live within Ruinberg.
Ruinberg is one of our newer city maps, and it's fairly large, being 800 by 800 meters. There are 3 main routes of attack: the roads leading to the city, the road going through the middle, and the village area. Each of these have 2 important areas to control. The city has very large roads and plenty of opportunities for teams to flank. The long roads also provide for good sniping areas as well as corner shooting. Teams often push through the village area, and once controlled, the team can move on to the enemy's base. You should pick heavy tanks with high alpha damage for corner sniping, as well as a faster tank for the middle spot.
So, welcome into the third map. It will be Ruinberg, and in that golden yellow, it's DeNova, currently tied all even to the southern, the blue Team-Dignitas. Now, as you said, it gets defined in a couple of seconds, this map, in a couple of minutes at the most, and we're going to find out who can really claim the advantage in this one. Both teams truly spectacular at this. What are they going for?
Well, I think the most interesting thing for Team-Dignitas, which you guys should be keeping an eye on, is that extra MX 3090 they picked. Obviously, most teams just pick 1 because then you can get the initial spot, but it won't have reload. Team-Dignitas have 2, so how are they going to use it? But so far, standard start for them, going up towards that small village, heading up towards the middle with 1 tank. For DeNova, they've done a standard start, although they have sent that 5100 over towards the city, but that can be considered standard as well. And you've got to see the 3 T69s, how they're going to come into this. Arcanet's obviously going to be there to try and deal with it. And I think DeNova, they have that initial kind of positional advantage, but can they use it?
Yeah, well, they're missing shells every now and then. They've got about 2 or 3 connecting to Shash. Oh, making a good few in a row there. He's down and out. International deals that death blow, but here comes Arclet. Here comes Povel. They're making the counterplay from that village that we know they love. And Povel has found SV Dynamo. And now bad news is in trouble. He's going to back away. Phoenix trying to do the same. They've exchanged halves here, but will that big tank come into play? Will Rest in Peace be able to land these shots, draw Dignitas towards it? I'm just not sure right now.
Well, the thing is, DeNova is kind of split up. They've also given Povel a very good situation, but the T69 have reloaded and take him down. Povel still, though, he's probably just on reload, and he's going to try and do some damage to Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix is down to 59 HP right now. He's going to have to get out of that situation so damn quickly. Bad news, desperately needed that shell to land onto Povl. Not so lucky. He's got 2 shells to make this one count right now. Pushing into this, you can see the dead tank of his teammate is the only cover in the way. Oh, he doesn't get it. This is trouble, but he finally lands the shell he needed, and that will alleviate some of the pressure. But Dignitas have fallen off the radar. They still have 2 damage-dealing tanks alive. DeNova are not out of it yet.
But Garat, he's on reload, and he's only on 613 HP. Apoel has got the reload, 750 HP, but he's only got 4 shells. Make that 3, but he is engaging bad news.
Yeah, he's going to be going for this one, but International is right in the mix here. He can spin around at any point. Phoenix, Winnie the Pooh, is actually going for the cap as well. He's adding on the pressure. Phoenix exchanging down with Garat. He's at a massive disadvantage, but International's done the job towards Apoel. Now just Garat really standing for Dignitas. He's going to get a hell of a bashing there as International flies through in that 1390. They'll find Armley in a moment's notice. And my God, what a beautiful turnaround from DeNova and a lovely ending there from Bad News, just slamming down Armley and keeping 4 tanks alive then after such a strange exchange. They literally exchanged halves then in that middle section. And I thought in that moment when Dignitas had the advantage in the village, they had such a big presence there that, well, it's got to be over for DeNova, but somehow they held on to that.
Yeah, what Team Dignitas were doing, they're going for the late game, whilst DeNova were going for the early game. And Team Dignitas, they had the higher ground in the village, but what they couldn't do is translate into that into actual damage, or they couldn't at least mitigate the damage of those T69s. And you could see, we got Phoenix doing 1.6k in that T69. You can see the next damaging tank, 949 from Bad News, and finally, we got SD Dynamo doing 425, but he did take that initial, so he was just the meat shield, as you would say. But I was saying about, that extra AMX 3090 Team Dignitas picked. One of them did 2.2 thousand damage, the highest damage in the tank. But the other one, is 877. So that second AMX 3090 not translating into anything, whilst, the second T69 for the side of DeNova did a lot of damage at the end of the day. So I think, honestly, the MX 1390, picking 2 of them is not really worth it. You could see the kind of domination DeNova had at the beginning with those 3 of them, just complete obliteration. International also, props to him, he got himself into a very good position from the side. And Rest in Peace was just there just to finish everything off, and he didn't do that much. Only towards the end, he did like 1.5k damage.
Yeah, great way for DeNova now to take the lead 2-1. Now, the thing is, though, the next map, it's going to be Himmelsdorf. Now, we know how good Dignitas are on this. They can make anyone look like, your standard guys out there playing Wild Tanks. These guys make Virtus Pro shake on this map because, well, we've seen the backup plans. We've seen the execution being flawless. We've seen the shells just perfectly landing. This is where DeNova are going to struggle, if any. If they pick this one up, my God, what a way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's the best thing about Himmelsdorf, it's a map where you have to be good at as a team to be good at any other map, because you have to have the basics in World of Tanks to be good. If you have the basics and you can play Himmelsdorf, if you can play Himmelsdorf, you can move up into Ruinberg, Ensk, all those maps which kind of add a few more elements. Then you get your Prokhorovkas, your Abbeys, and your Mines, which just kind of cement everything together in one big map cake. But, you said Team Dignitas, a very good team on Himmelsdorf, but DeNova almost equally as good, in my opinion. I've always said they're an incredible team here. I would say Virtus Pro, DeNova, not even Virtus Pro, DeNova and Team Dignitas are the 2 best teams on Himmelsdorf, full stop. So these are really going to be the giants of Himmelsdorf. Whichever one wins this one, it won't cement their place as the best team on Himmelsdorf, but it will certainly give them that edge.
Yeah, it really would. And bearing in mind, because DeNova are on 2-1 right now, if they pick this up, they're going to beat Team Dignitas and on a defining map like Himmelsdorf. We picked the right game to start with here today. I do believe the tank picks are beginning. Only tier 1's coming out so far, so nothing too thrilling just as of yet. But normal picks coming out here, do you think? Or are we going to see 5 Waffle Tigers?
I don't think we'll see 5 Waffle Tigers. This is not Spale we're talking about. We probably won't see an MX 3090, which is another thing that the American League had, the WGLA League had. I mean, I guess it could work, but not the greatest pick in the world for Himmelsdorf. I think you're going to pick a T69 as you're going to pick any kind of small autoloader. Obviously, it's not a light tank like the MX 3090, but some people consider it to be very similar in those respects.
Yeah.
But double T1 for Team Dignitas, double T1 for DeNova, getting those T1 picks. Now we've really got the weight, because as we saw on Ensk, the reason why, let's say, DeNova lost or Team Dignitas won was because they picked the extra IS3, not the extra 5100. And this is what these two teams want to avoid. Whichever picks the triple IS3 is going to have to play a little bit more subdued, stay back, try and get those quick peak shots out with obviously high alpha damage is definitely a lot more favored. And the other team, if it picks lots of 5100s, it's got to make sure they play aggressively. They have the perfect focus fire with less HP and less armor as well. Got to block for the other team, your own team's tanks, make sure that you're spreading the damage throughout all the 5100s. But double IS3 for Team Dignitas, double IS3 for DeNova. So far, just mirrored picks. Double 5100 for Team Dignitas. So they're going for those two French tanks, but that's what we'd expect. And I think we'll see DeNova pick two 5100s here as well. We've seen a 110, the Chinese Tier 8 heavy tank, come out before on this map from DeNova, but honestly, I think they kind of sidelined that one here. But double 5100s, as I said, for DeNova, making both lineups of double T1, double IS3, double 5100s as we go into that last pick.
Yeah, and I love seeing it being this even. That's what really does it for me. And I think we're seeing another 5100 for Dignitas there. Do you think that's going to be mirrored by DeNova?
Well, yeah, I think it's a good chance. They don't want to leave anything down to, you know, like on Ensk.
Making a pick of a mistake, for example.
I think, honestly, I love this. Both, 1, 2 on Himmelsdorf, the top two teams on this map, picking the exact same lineup. It's literally just going to come down to that player skill, that team synergy, and also just the ability to make sure that you know the map down to an absolute T and you have the perfect anti-trap for the other team.
This is going to define possibly if DeNova really can start chipping away at the Dignitas legend. So guys, we are very, very close to this one now. Can you believe that currently DeNova are sitting at a 2-1 advantage here? It's absolutely unbelievable. And if they can claim it on this very map, it really put them back on, just on absolute par with the top teams. Once again, cementing their place up there. So guys, let's get ready for the defining map, Himmelsdorf.
Himmelsdorf is a city maps of city maps. It's a small one, being 600 by 600 meters. There are 3 routes of attack: the hill, the banana, and the train side. The middle area is relatively easy to push, however can end up in disaster as you can be flanked from every side. The road, often called banana, allows for direct head-on assaults but requires a lot of resources. Both the railroad area and the road next to it are good routes of attack, being very open and straight. However, for those very same reasons, you can be easily caught out and taken down. The map features many densely housed areas, which provides good places for engagements and routes of attack. Teams must be aware of the various routes their opponents can take through the map, as well as the hull-down positions enemies can take throughout the entire map. The trick with Himmelsdorf is to catch an enemy tank unsupported by his teammates and then use that advantage to collapse on the entire enemy team.
So, welcome into the 4th map and what could be the defining one for DeNova. Currently sitting at 2-1 advantage, starting in the north in that gold and yellow, facing off against Team Dignitas in the south in blue. What are we seeing at the very start here? So
Team Dignitas are on kind of last chance saloon here. You're seeing the double 5100 of Apoel and Povel, that dream team going up the hill. Stalker sitting up that 8 line, spotting out in his T1. Armley, who has been spotted, as well as Arclit in those 2 IS3 sitting up the 1, 2, 3 line, already connecting the first shot onto Phoenix. So a great start for Team Dignitas. For the side of DeNova, a little bit more strange. We see a lot of teams from North playing a little bit more defensively, but they've kind of spread tanks out. You got the double IS3 up the 8 line, you got the 51ers up towards the 1, 2, 3 line, and a couple of tanks just in support of those.
Now, I want to just kind of highlight something here. If those 2 tanks for Dignitas make it up onto that hill, you can see the amount of players who will be in trouble here, and they don't have a tier 1 to spot them out. Could this be their undoing?
It certainly could. I always say that if you get caught out by that tactic, the kind of a D line where you can shoot through the hill from Apoel, then you deserve to die. But you can see DeNova not going to get caught out by that. They're going to push straight up that 8 line.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they are fairly unspotted so far, but it will eventually become apparent where they are heading. They've spotted out Armley now. He's just down to the right. You can see those turrets just turning around, lining up for these shots. He's disappeared off their sights right now, but popping back up. They've noticed where he is right here, and 2 of the heavy tanks for Dignitas are still away from this fight. This is the important here. Nice shot coming in from International, followed up by another from Bad News. Really chipping away at Team Dignitas Team-Dignitas' health. And right now, DeNova are actually pushing further on.
This is just a textbook on timing for DeNova. They're just picking out exactly when Team-Dignitas are on the rotate, when they're in the wrong positions. You can see Armley on 657. He's been damaged up so much that when it comes to that firefight, Team-Dignitas has a struggle to get into it. Apoel and Povell, though, that damage dealing guy, those two top players in the league are going to try and cement themselves back into this game.
This means trouble right now. DeNova are now being surrounded. They've got to make this execution happen damn quickly if they want it to work. So we do see the shells coming in once again towards Armley. He's down at 42 HP. Let's hope they don't get completely tunnel vision because International's in trouble. He's gone down. That's Apoel claiming another one to put up onto that mantelpiece there and now looking for more. We are seeing these guys folding in. Phoenix going down low. Bad news trying to get into the battle right here. Oh, he misses the shot. That could mean real trouble now. FC Dynamo's going low. He's down and out. And my God, that two-man team of Apoel coming back through with Povell is doing exactly what it should. But can this be turned? Phoenix doing damage. Bad news doing damage. But will it be enough? 2 tanks against 3. The reloads are coming in. DeNova could be caught out a little bit here. Bad news trying to avoid the shells. Phoenix has to wait this battle out. Try and play it safe. But Apoel's having none of that. He's going to be hunting him down any moment now. Bad news trying to keep these guys at bay. The 2 tanks with the biggest chunk of health going in for this one right now. Apoel caught on the cross. Doesn't even bother turning his turret towards him. He knows Phoenix is the easier target here. Arklet now goes in towards Bad news. There's no way to get out of this, but Phoenix is running out of there. He's trying to get away from Apoel, who he knows is just steps behind him. Bad news can do so little about this. Gets a shot to Arklet, but Phoenix just about escaping on 21 HP, and Dignitas are everywhere DeNova wants to be. DeNova are just about holding on by a thread here. Phoenix gets taken down, and now just Bad news alive, keeping tiny bits of hope in there. But right now it's over, and Dignitas are back in the game, ladies and gentlemen. 2-2 right now. If they were going to do it on any map, it was going to be Himmelsdorf. And that 2-man team coming in with Apoel in the mix, you knew that was going to do well. But I just felt if DeNova had a little bit more focus there, they could have done some real damage.
They were in the driving seat on that game, 100%. I have no idea what they were thinking throughout towards the later stage, because you had the T1s, which should have been on the hill trying to spot out. I mean, fair enough, they got one capping and the right position to spot the cross.
Understandable.
Fair enough, but use one T1 to try and spot up the hill, because then they wouldn't know those 51s there. Or you don't even know they need the T1s. You've spotted most of Team Dignitas, you know where they are. You know, if you watch any VODs of Team Dignitas, they almost always send 251s up the hill. So have Phoenix, who was sitting up in the middle, I think he was just, tunnel visioning 100%.
Yep.
Have him come round from behind, or be in a position where he can come around from behind immediately as soon as those 251s come up, because they would have expended all their shells, or at least 4 or 5 of them.
Yep.
Then he can come around and he can at least take down one 5100.
See, now, the one thing that jumps to my mind, was it Armley they got really low at that first push up banana?
Yeah, he got on 42 HP.
And they just completely focused him.
Yeah.
They completely forgot about the rest of the tanks. And normally Apoel, he's not necessarily the player on the hill there. He sometimes goes down towards that railroad kind of area. And they would have spotted him if he was there. And it's just those little red flags would start waving, going, where are the last 2 tanks here? And DeNova, that's the difference, I think, right here, in that little bit of experience coming into effect there, that Dignitas, even though they really did get caught out by the initial strategy coming out from DeNova of being able to push up, they took the lead there, they really went for it. But, Dignitas always have that backup plan, and right there and right then, that was just Apoel. And in his element, he's an absolutely insane player, but defining map. It's going to be one of your favorites. I know we love watching this one. It's going to be mine as well. So we are ready for those tank picks. So let's jump into that screen right here and see what we're going to be getting, because we've seen a lot of variation here recently.
Yeah, we've seen a few strange picks. We've seen the IS3 even coming in on this map. But honestly, these 2 teams, I think, it's just going to be about those T69s. The T32 will probably be featured. And obviously the MX-3090 being the MX-3090 and the T1 being that first pick. I'm interested to see what Bad News is going to do on this map, because we saw in Himmelsdorf, he probably didn't lose the game for the team, but the amount of shots he missed certainly didn't help him. With that BL9, you've got a long reload. You want to be hitting every single shot, and the damage of that 390 will add up extremely quickly, especially when you're shooting something like a 5100, because you'll almost certainly penetrate. Double T1 for Team Dignitas, MX-3090, T1 for DeNova. So both teams picking the same tank so far. Double MX-3090 for Team Dignitas. That's a little bit interesting, because I guess it's a kind of a hard tank to play on this map, because you don't have the gun depression. DeNova, though, going for the standard picks, double T69.
Yeah, and I love seeing the T69 here. When they get onto that hill, if they get that early advantage, they're so good at being able to just power down. They've got the gun depression, as you mentioned. They'll be able to take down those 3090s so easily if they get into the right positions now.
Yeah, that's really their strength. They can just, they're so good downhill where tanks would struggle. They have, you know, the ability just to make the shots count. They have a lot of burst damage. You know, they have, especially with the snapshot crew skill, they can just hit those shots as well on the move. It's a fairly accurate tank on the move. It's just lovely to play. T69 Pershing from Team-Dignitas is their next pick. AMX 3090 is going to be DeNova's last pick, making their lineup a triple AMX 3090, double T69, double T1. So pretty much the same as we'd see on a map like Prokhorovka and Steps. Although, you know, Steps, we do see like the 416 being picked quite a lot these days. And I think for Team-Dignitas, they can anti-strat this. They just have to think about it. They've already picked one Pershing. We've seen Odin always pick 2 on this map, so that's one option. The 5100, you can get that tank if it supplies a lot of damage. It's got a little bit more HP. The 416, I wouldn't go for it just because of the gun depression is really bad because of the way the tank's built. The IS-3 absorbs a lot of damage, but once again, gun depression, so you can get caught out. And finally, the T-32, it doesn't have any of those problems, but it's very slow, so you can get anti-stratted towards the base, towards the caps. Or you can just go what they've done here, gone for the AMX 3090, making their final lineup a triple AMX 3090 Pershing, T69 double T1. So the only difference is that Team-Dignitas have gone for something a little bit more reliable, the Pershing, whilst DeNova gone for the extra T69. So DeNova have the advantage in terms of burst damage, but Team-Dignitas are more versatile in terms of just providing damage over time.
Yeah, well, we'll find out whose strategy really will pay off, because this is the defining map. And can you believe it? DeNova are moments away from possibly taking down Team-Dignitas. Now, bearing in mind, Dignitas have only lost 2 games this season. They have been on such a hot streak, and if it's going to happen, it's going to happen right now. So, guys, let's get ready for Mines.
Mines, the original and best World of Tanks 7-on-7 map famed for its incredible tactical opportunities. A small map being 800 by 800 meters. The map has 3 primary routes of attack: the left flank through the water, the middle area, and the town side. The key position on this map is the middle area, as it provides great firing positions and areas of attack for the team that holds it. The middle area's primary entrance is the road passing through the middle of the map. It is essential that the teams take key areas around the hill, both of which are situated just below the hill, the north side and the south side. These locations can provide for some amusing tactics. The hill isn't the only means of attack on Mines though. There's also a housing area towards the east side that has a fair few routes of attack and provides great cover for advancing tanks. The water area can be an option for teams, however the soft ground makes it very hard for tanks to traverse rapidly, but leads straight to the opponent's base.
So, welcome into the 5th and final map here. It will be Mines in the north, in the golden yellow. It's DeNova, currently tied all even with Team-Dignitas starting in the south. What are we seeing so far here?
Team-Dignitas going for the standard tactic, putting as many tanks as they can up on the hill as quickly as possible. Those 2 AMX 3090s being fantastic for that. Povel, though, Shanish and Garat going up there as well because of the way, you know, DeNova has started. They've had a really strange start, putting loads of tanks over towards the mountain, towards the island, excuse me. And to be honest, that tactic hasn't paid off that much. But the thing is, it's caught Team-Dignitas by surprise. Shanish Garat not managing to land all 3 shells they had, and that's been the perfect start for DeNova. They have that left side of the map. They don't have map control. Team-Dignitas still have that, but they have the positional advantage. You know, okay, Team-Dignitas have their high ground, but as long as DeNova play it properly from the north, the island can provide a lot of benefits.
We're going to find out if that really is going to come into effect. Shanish has once again appeared on their radar, and obviously that's going to be punished there. Shanish's been taken down to 554 already. He's been made so squishy so damn quickly. That is unbelievable. Now, if DeNova can keep that up, well, this could be trouble for Dignitas, but this is very brave play coming out from these guys. They're putting everything into effect. Armely appearing on their radar. Very little that can be done by him. Winterthur doing his job as best he can there, trying to spot out anything that may be coming into their way. Rest in peace and International being a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more daring, edging forward there in those 1390s. And International did receive some damage, but the exchange truly in favor to DeNova.
Team-Dignitas have one advantage though. Most of their tanks are setting up together. They've clumped them all. And if they find a weakness in DeNova, which is plenty and not particularly hard to exploit, they just need to find it with those T1s. They need to get that information. You can see that one tank here, the T69, is completely on its own. If Povol, Garat, and Armley find that, it will be decimated within a matter of seconds. Although Team International now taking down Stalker, that's amazing for DeNova because Stalker was actually spotting all those tanks heading up and traversing around the island. So a good start for DeNova. Shanish is down to 3-10. Garat keeps on getting punished once again. He'd 1-2-0-1 on that Pershing, so that kind of HP advantage it has compared to the MX-3090 and the T69 has been completely mitigated. He's down to the mere mortal status of those two tanks and an easy target, but not quite as easy as Shanish.
Yeah, and this is unnerving. This is Dignitas now being pushed to their limit. Let's see how they can adapt here. Winthipoo's still getting those spots out. He's just playing it carefully around that cliff face in that tier 1, and we know how important they are. Phoenix holding the back, pretty much holding that rotate, but will they expect a push coming out from Team Dignitas here? If these guys go aggressive, if they try and make a bit of a counter, maybe it could really cause an upset, but at the moment, DeNova, they're feeling comfortable.
But you can see Stalker now pinging out across. He's probably seen the one tank there, or at least knows that there's possibly a tank there. You can see another ping coming out from Stalker. He's already pinged up here, probably thinking that there might be a tank up there. But you see the T69 has got line of sight there, so they can kind of engage each other. Armley and finally Applewell finding Array around, taking down Winnie the Pooh. So both teams now losing a T1, but he does get punished immediately. That's some great play by Phoenix, using the T69's gun depression to best effect. And once again, you know, Team Dignitas getting punished for a move. It looks like DeNova has all the answers.
Yeah, right now they do. They really have the upper hand, but can Phoenix hold on to it? As we said, brilliant initial play coming out from him, just absolutely doing the damage. Applewell is going hunting round. That's Ron spotting him out there, just right around the back. Very unique position. We rarely see that going into effect, but here comes the counterplay. He's going to go down. We see the tanks starting to make their move. The T69 will be in trouble. That's Phoenix there, but International, rest in peace, and FC Dynamo all now trying to rope around the back. They know they've got at least some cover to get away with this move. Can they execute in time, however?
It looks like Shanish is probably going to be the first one to feel the full effect of DeNova as they push around.
Oh my word, this is going well for them, but International receiving a big chunk of damage. Shanish not going down without a fight. Povol comes in when it matters. And oh my word, DeNova are crumbling as we speak. Their execution went well, but they did not expect the likes of Povol to be doing damage, the likes of Garat to hold them in place, and now Applewell, that early push-up, causing real pain for Phoenix, taking him down to 8-3-7, and this is literally heartbreaking.
It's a short-sighted move from DeNova, not expecting Team Dignitas to be quite where they were. They thought they'd pushed around further towards Phoenix, but that was just poor. They should have known they were there. They should have not pushed on. They should have just waited their time. They had all the advantage. They just threw them away.
Yeah, and you can see FC Dynamo, they're trying to get out of this situation. He was being chased down by the remaining tanks of Dignitas. And to be fair, at present, Dignitas have only lost one member of their team, and that's only a tier 1. So there's still so much work for these three guys to do. They have 4 minutes and 54 seconds to do it. This is not going to be easy at all, and you don't want to give Dignitas even a glimpse of hope. They now have an absolute mile of it. Phoenix turns around, spots out Armley, gets one shell connected, but one immediately replied back. Povol waiting to lay down the fire, and well, those 3090s may not have gun depression, but he'll just put himself down the face of a cliff if he has to. And now bad news, receiving more bad news as Applewell is making his move forward. Garat to the right, Povol behind, and this is literally shooting fish in a barrel here. Bad news is going low. Their hopes and dreams have been dashed on the shores, and Applewell claiming that final one with Povol in tow. And Team Dignitas, you're not going to be catching those guys out simply with those moves there. Beautifully played, well handled, but a very close game. Extremely
close, and it was closer than it looked. You know, DeNova had every advantage, like on Himmelsdorf, but once again, couldn't translate towards the later stage of the game. They took a gamble with pushing the MX-3090s up, and that gamble was just a poorly thought through one. Even if Team Dignitas had been further back, pushing up towards Phoenix, or had more tanks on the hill, they could have still easily got into positions to take care of those MX-3090s very quickly. They had T69s there, they had the Pershing there, so they had the gun depression to shoot down on the MX-3090s. And what was even more interesting was the fact that Shanish on 310 HP, he survived the whole thing. For I had no idea. I saw one shot hitting the side of his tracks and not obviously being absorbed by them. So yeah, just DeNova not really thinking about what they're doing, but a very good play from Team Dignitas because they kind of... They got caught out, well, initially. Yeah, for Team-Dignitas, they kind of counterplayed. They pushed up forwards.
Yep.
They made DeNova think that they were actually going for the proper engagement, which caused DeNova to overreact, coming around and going for a push from behind, which obviously Team-Dignitas were 100% prepared for. So yeah, just fantastic play from Team-Dignitas. What you would expect from such an experienced team.
Yeah, they're proving why they've only actually lost 2 games this entire season. Now they'll be sitting on 17-2. And, well, I don't think DeNova are in too much trouble. They're sitting on 32 points currently. They'll stay on that. Mortis, the team who are only below them, they're on 24. So they're fairly safe in that top 4 position currently. But still, we've said that before. They're safe in the top 3, and Mousesports got up there. So, but still, with only one more play day after this one, I think they're pretty safe. There is even a see you at LAN, GG well played coming out from Team-Dignitas there. So nice to see a bit of camaraderie coming out from them. And they are good friends in this. They play together every single week pretty much, and they practice and train every time. So that's why I love seeing out these new strategies coming out into play. So yeah, great first game. I think everyone can agree, and I don't think we'd have expected it to be that close, because even though it did come true towards what you said, the fact that if DeNova get the first map under their belt, follow up with the second, that's when they might have a chance against one. But other than that, it'd be extremely close, because the fact is that if you give Team-Dignitas the early advantage and that confidence to start with, they get a 5-0. There's no stopping them. The Invertus Pro would struggle to, manage that threat, which we've seen actually come into fruition. So, credit to DeNova once again. Played very well. But the thing that always defines Dignitas to me is those backup plans. The way they adapt on the fly is flawless. They can still control the enemy, even when they've been caught out by tactics they did not expect. So, very well played to them. Truly deserving of their top spot currently in the rankings. But how many of you guys at home got that one right? I can't imagine many of you got that close of a result. I'd say, you expected Dignitas to win, but at that score, I don't know. Melly, how many people out there actually expected that one?
Well, not much. Really not much. The vote ended like 76% for Team-Dignitas. And, well, as you said, Team-Dignitas is just plain... It sometimes looks like all of the tanks are controlled by one person, because it's timed so perfectly, and they're just... I don't know how they do this, but it's just magic. You can't describe it any different. And the predictions at the start went in pretty clear favor for Team-Dignitas as well. But after DeNova taking the first map, and people actually seen that they have taken the first map, they started predicting a pretty close matchup. So they somehow knew that DeNova could have taken more from Team-Dignitas, but didn't believe in the very last bit of DeNova winning against Team-Dignitas, which was right at the end. Unfortunately, I really would have liked DeNova seen DeNova win, actually. Yep. I had a funny feeling that this matchup was going to be huge, and it was. So people watch back the VODs, and and we already have a few submissions for our Christmas ornament challenge. If you haven't heard from it by now, head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WoT Pro League, and check out our actual Facebook challenge. It's a Christmas ornament challenge. We already made some ourselves. Let's show one more, which haven't. Oh, this. Look. You know what this is?
It looks like a jerry can, like the fuel cans.
Exactly, you can put fuel in there. It's very nice. So if you want to make some Christmas ornaments, feel free to take any materials you like and make a picture of it and upload it on Twitter by the use of #WGLEU, or send it by a private message on our Facebook page, or post it in the comments below the challenge announcement. So I'm waiting for more submissions, and yeah, that's pretty much all. I will put up the next vote in a few minutes, and yeah, let's see how your predictions at home are going.
Well, we can't wait to hear from you guys. Obviously, we love hearing from you here in the studio. You do come across with some funny things, and mostly funny pictures of us too. And I always do appreciate that, even though I may tell you that it's atrocious. And mostly like his shell sculpture.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. But still, what a great way to start this Playday off. We have seen Dignitas there just claiming the throne once again, just shoving away the new boy, saying, not quite yet. Try again in maybe, the offline finals. We'll see how you do then. And obviously, they are coming up pretty quickly because we are into the second to last Playday pretty much right now. Matchday 22 will be the final one, but the thing about that is that these teams don't have to only worry about being in that top 6. They have to worry about staying in the league in general. One team will be leaving us, and we'll have one team joining us. And that will be between Ulanska Fantasia and Team WD right now. And they'll be facing off against each other after the break. Now, these two are tied on points. They're tied on results. Everything is symmetrical, but one team will walk away with a slight advantage after this to hopefully scrape some security towards that final Playday. So, guys, don't go too far away from your screens. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with Team WD up against Ulanska Fantasia.